Greetings, everyone, and welcome. November the 30th, 2025, 5:10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The negotiations between the United States and Ukrainian delegations have concluded in Miami, Florida. There have been statements made by Rubio and Umarov. I will interpret those for you in just a moment. But in addition to that, I was also waiting to see if we would get any type of response from President Trump, knowing that he would be on Air Force One coming back to DC, and he did not disappoint. He has made a statement. Unfortunately, the statement is disappointing as he has called Ukraine corrupt publicly, and he said, I'm going to show and play for you the video, but basically, I told you 3 years ago that Ukraine is corrupt. And this is leading into Witkoff leaving tomorrow to head to meet with Vladimir Putin before Vladimir Putin goes to meet Modi in India to sign new agreements and documents. We are on the beginning. We are initiating probably one of the most important week and days ahead in regard to Ukraine, the war in Ukraine, and where we will be heading for the remainder of this year and into 2026. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing, liking, commenting, and subscribing. I can confirm for you, yes, Witkoff is headed back to Putin. I'll have more about that in just a moment at the end of the video, but I can tell you right now, I'm disappointed by that. I think that is a very poor showing from the United States. Everybody knows that Witkoff is, at the minimum, pro-Russian in his viewpoint between Russia and Ukraine. That is obvious, and that, in my opinion, is unacceptable as an envoy, period. Now, let's go here. Donald Trump, just minutes ago, and I know you want to hear this, he said, yes, I talked with Rubio, I talked with Witkoff, we had good meetings, Russia wants to end the war, Ukraine wants to end the war, but I've told you for 3 years that Ukraine is corrupt. Here you go, listen for yourself.
Spoken with Rubio and Witkoff since that meeting?
Yeah, I've spoken to them, and they're doing well. Ukraine's got some difficult little problems. They have some difficult problems.
Sorry, but I've spoken with Rubio and Witkoff. They're doing well. It's not the question how they're doing. How was the meetings, the most important meetings in the world right now? And, well, you know, oh, bless their little heart, Ukraine has some little problems.
But I think Russia would like to see it end, and I know Ukraine would like to see it end.
You just said that Ukraine has a little bit of problems.
Well,
what are
we have
those
a corruption
problems?
situation going on, which is not helpful.
And is that impeding the peace talks?
I said it was going on for 3 years, right? Didn't I say it? For 3 years I said it, so I was way ahead of schedule. But I think that there's a good chance we can make a deal.
Unfortunately, the deal for him is the capitulation of Ukraine, and I do not see that happening. It's going to be a very difficult week, but I'm just, you hear that. For 3 years, I've been telling you they're corrupt. Wasn't it just a couple of months ago that you said Ukraine can win the war? They got an incredible army and they can take even Russian territory. It's just so disappointing that this is the leadership right now of the United States as we flip-flop, as we are so weak when it comes to dealing with Vladimir Putin. Extreme weakness. And yes, I'm got a little emotion on this one. I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed that this is how the United States is choosing to side, how the United States is choosing to lead and be the example. Marco Rubio today making some good comments, but we have to see through it. And we'll share that with you now as we continue on. But Wall Street Journal had early reports out that the negotiations were actually difficult at the beginning. And I know that as a fact because I was reading Ukrainian coverage of that. It was stressful today, tense, but they worked through it. I know that they were talking about elections. And we also know that they were talking about territories, and the territorial issue did not go so well. But we will hear more officially about that later. I can also tell you the Deputy Foreign Minister of Ukraine, his name is Sergei Kuslutsya. He says it's been a good start of the ongoing meeting. Very engaging, constructive, warm atmosphere, conductive to potential progressive outcome, and he appreciated the good leadership of Marco Rubio. Yes, I'm thankful Marco Rubio was there. Rubio, making the statements, hopes that progress will be made in the negotiations on the settlement following the meeting. He said this is not just about ending the war, but also about emerging from it so that Ukraine is an independent and sovereign country that will no longer face the threat of a new war and whose people will prosper. But Mr. Rubio, this is the statement you have to remember that you were saying, and I hope you will, that Ukraine will not face the threat of a new war in the future. You cannot capitulate your way to peace, neuter the Ukrainian army and people, give away their lands, and then think that that will bring Ukraine to a sovereign nation with strong borders. Your security guarantees, sorry, mean nothing. Ukraine has had security guarantees and security assurances for decades, and look where that has gotten us. They're not going to believe in that again. The only thing Ukraine believes in, and every soldier will tell you this, they only believe in each other and the Ukrainian army. Umarov making the right statements. He says the talks were successful. We completed a difficult but productive session, and there was tangible progress toward what Kyiv calls a just peace. He then thanked the United States, grateful, thanked the United States for its support and interest in a common result, while stating there's still a long road ahead. I'm not going to talk about any more details today, but thank you to the United States. Here, Rubio and Umarov speaking right after the meeting.
We had another very productive session, building off Geneva, building off the events of this week. As I told you earlier this morning, our goal here is to end the war, but it's more than just to end the war. We don't just want to end the war, we also want to help Ukraine be safe forever, so never again will they face another invasion, and equally importantly, we want them to enter an age of true prosperity. I think we continued that work in our communications throughout the week. I think we built on that again today, but there's more work to be done. This is delicate, it's complicated, there are a lot of moving parts, and obviously there's another party involved here that'll have to be a part of the equation, and that'll continue later this week when Mr. Witkoff travels to Moscow.
Once again, we are grateful to American people, American leadership, and a great team with State Secretary Steve Witkoff, Jared Kushner for their tremendous work with us. Our objective is a prosperous, strong Ukraine. We were discussing about the future of Ukraine. We discussed all the important matters that are important for Ukraine, for Ukrainian people, and the U.S. was super supportive. We already had a successful meeting in Geneva, and today we continue this success. So at the moment, this meeting was productive and successful. On the later stages, hopefully, we will keep you updated. Thank you.
Thank you very much, guys.
There it is. You have the facts. And just please do not misunderstand. He did not call Witkoff the Secretary of State. He was calling Marco Rubio by his title, Secretary of State. And then he was saying, in addition, Witkoff and Jared Kushner. You can interpret it for yourselves. Rubio making the right statements. You know, we're working on it. It's difficult. We want them to be secure and have a future and be prosperous. I appreciate those words, Mr. Rubio. Rubio also stating accurately, remember, there's a third party involved here. But Mr. Witkoff confirming will be traveling there this week, and we know that he leaves tomorrow and the meeting scheduled for Tuesday with Vladimir Putin, because Putin is heading to India to sign deals with Modi. That also could have an effect later in the week, because on the economic side, it will make differences. Remember, the United States wanting to pressure India to stop supporting the Russian economy, and Putin's on the way to meet with Modi. That's the 4th and the 5th of December, and we'll be right on top of that for you. But here's my biggest problem with today, and you heard Umarov say, listen, more details later. We're grateful. We made some progress, saying all the right things. But here's my number one problem. Are we just wiping off the table and forgetting about the tapped lines, the conversations between Ushakov and Dmitriev and Witkoff, the conversations where Witkoff was actually setting the stage? This is proven facts, guys. He was advising Russia how to deal with President Trump, how to get on his good side, what things to say. And this is the man that once again is going straight back to Vladimir Putin. The question is, what else do you need to know? Marco Rubio should be the man on the airplane going to Putin. Here is my guess. Putin has told Trump he doesn't want to see Rubio. That's my guess. Because there is something inside of Rubio where he actually does know the real score. His historical background with the communism of Cuba for generations in his family, he understands it. Look at his back speeches before he fell under this MAGA spell. I'm sure Vladimir Putin doesn't want to see Marco Rubio. So we'll just send over Witkoff again. I can tell you, the Ukrainians not happy about Witkoff heading back to Putin. But time will tell. We will go off of the words of Rubio and Umarov. There's more work to be done. Had good meetings. Now we keep working, and time will tell. Thank you for being here, guys. Thank you for liking, sharing, commenting, subscribing. You're up to date on what really turned out to be a big day. Ultimately, at the end of all of this, I'm really disappointed in two things. Number one, that President Trump would take opportunity just to jump on the corruption bandwagon. Yes, they're corrupt. Yes, Ukraine is fighting against corruption. But hello, Donald Trump, your family has enriched itself through the presidency, doing business with world leaders. You can't call other nations corrupt, sir, with all due respect. My second disappointment is that it is Witkoff once again returning to Putin. But did I expect anything else? No. But I sure did hope for something better. Thank you, guys. Be blessed. We'll keep you informed.